Well, our tagline for Black Pond is it's about an ordinary family who are accused of murder when a stranger dies at their dinner table. And it's that story of the events that led up to this man's death, intercut with mockumentary talking heads where the characters are trying to justify what they did. So one of the unusual things about the film is it basically tells you how it's going to end right at the start. In fact, just told you, but but it's sort of all about like sort of why did it lead up to that point rather than the plot being a surprise. It's the motive and the emotions that the characters are feeling which is the surprise.
I guess we made a short film 2 years ago now, maybe 3 years ago, which was literally just us two with like a prosumer camera and like a reflector board and a top mic, and we showed it to someone at a production company and he really liked it and said he'd give us 50 grand to make a feature film, which isn't that much, but you know, we thought, well, that's great. And then he went on sabbatical and came back and said, actually, I'm not going to give you 50 grand. And so by then we were sort of ready to make it and had written it and had talked about how we were going to make it affordable and stuff. So we just thought, well, we might as well see what happens if we try to do it on our own, and kind of slashed the budget in half.
I think it hasn't been one hard part in particular. I think one of the things that struck us was that it's really hard to make a film, but there's no particularly one thing that was hard. It's just every day there's always something that doesn't quite go right, and every day you're having to think up a creative way of getting around the problem, which is really exciting, and through that lots of great things come about. But yeah, I can't think of...
It's like, I think it's a sort of stamina thing. So you have to be always on your toes, particularly as co-directors, like obviously as actors and whatever other role you play. But it's kind of like, it's just a problem-solving exercise. And after sort of 2 weeks of not sleeping that much, it gets harder and harder to solve problems quickly and sanely. And then you finish the shoot and it's like, oh, well, that's good, now we can relax. Oh no, we've got to edit it for 3 months. And then it was like, well, we'll get someone to grade it. Oh, it's really expensive. We should probably learn to grade it ourselves. And just at each stage, it's sort of like, oh God, this is never going to end, is it? Yeah. So the first time we screened it, it was quite a relief, I think. It felt like at least a kind of semicolon, if not full stop. I think we were quite strict with ourselves about, and quite open to feedback from others actually, about what hadn't worked. And so we just sort of did our best to be as grown up as possible about throwing stuff away and not being precious about it. But unfortunately that meant, or fortunately actually in the long run, that meant that at one stage, you know, we had a sort of 45-minute piece, which doesn't really sit in either category. And so we were trying to work out how can we make it so that it does work as a feature film and it doesn't feel kind of forced or cobbled together, and that took a while of sort of trial and error almost.
So basically initially it was just a straight up film, and then we added like this whole chunk of these mockumentary talking heads which really helped to like expand upon the story and bring it.
Yeah, I think actually it did work out for the best, funnily enough. You know, most things seem to if you kind of stick with it.
Well, it's been, Raindance has seemed really good. They've been really generous to have us here, and it's an amazing cinema. But we have, don't think we've done Raindance as well as we could have. We've been just been quite overwhelmed by trying to sort out like press for our film and stuff. And so, well, we thought it would be this massive party. We have actually just been quite tired at the end of the day and haven't seen as many films as we should have. But it seems like...
I think it's good. It stands for a really positive thing, which is something that we also believe in, which is that you shouldn't feel like you have to wait for somebody else to come in and kind of pick you up and give you an enormous amount of money to make a film. You know, anyone can make a film if they really want to, and you might have to sort of be a bit savvy about what exactly the script is and what your aims are. But it is achievable, and I think that's one of the good things about this festival, is that it's very fiercely independent and sends out a good message about independent film, I think.
We're working on something which is quite ambitious. It's Will has written a really good adaptation of an old classic book, which we probably can't tell you that, but it is an action-adventure film comedy set around the world, which has got a lot of special effects in it. And it's an extremely expensive film, and we're trying to, at the moment, work out how we'll do it for very little money, which, if we crack that, will be incredible.
we've been sort of working with models and stuff. So we've spent trying to do a demo tape. So we've been kind of traipsing around London, routing through people's recycling and stuff, and just trying to see if, like, do we actually need a crane, or can we just like shoot some cabbages instead of a hill, you know, like a valley? And I think we're sort of getting somewhere slowly. Like, it's sort of, we wanted to go, because with Black Pond we were very restrictive. We knew that we had a tiny amount of money, so we were like, well, let's just be in 3 locations. Let's make them really easy locations, like a house or the woods, rather than like cut to the chapel. It's like, well, where are we going to find a chapel? Whereas with this, we just wanted to be as free as possible, and so the restrictions come in with dealing with the sort of ambition of the script, I suppose.